There's a moment, a precise, unmistakable moment, when the narcissist's entire demeanor shifts. It's not obvious to most people, but if you've been paying attention, if you've been doing the inner work, you'll feel it. The air changes, their confidence wavers, and suddenly, the person who once seemed so untouchable, so dominant, so in control, begins to recoil. This isn't about picking a fight or proving a point. It's about what happens when something deeper in you wakes up and they can feel it. And here's where the conversation shifts. What if this isn't only psychology? What if it's a darkness that feeds on disconnection? When a narcissist senses that you've awakened to the truth, when they recognize that you carry a light they cannot extinguish, they don't just fear you, their demonic spirit fears you. And that fear manifests in ways that are both subtle and devastating. You see, narcissism is not merely a psychological condition, it's a spiritual darkness. The narcissist operates from a place of profound disconnection, disconnected from their authentic self, from truth, from the divine source of light. And in that void, in that emptiness they refuse to face, something else takes residence. Call it what you will: dark energy, demonic influence, spiritual warfare. But the reality is undeniable. There is a battle happening beneath the surface. The moment you stop shrinking and start standing in truth, the darkness doesn't debate. You become the signal it can't ignore. This is the moment everything changes. This is when the narcissist's strategies begin to fail. This is when their demonic spirit realizes it has met someone it cannot control. The void within. Understanding the spiritual darkness of narcissism. So before looking at why they fear you, it helps to understand what this darkness is built on and what it's protecting. To understand why a narcissist's demonic spirit fears you, we must first understand the spiritual architecture of narcissism itself. This is not just about ego or personality disorder. This goes deeper into the realm of the soul, or more accurately, the absence of it. The narcissist has spent decades, perhaps their entire life, disconnected from their true self. Somewhere early on, often in childhood, they learned that who they really are, vulnerable, imperfect, human, was not acceptable. So they built a false self, a mask designed to protect them from the unbearable shame they carry. But this mask is not just psychological armor. It's a spiritual fortress built on pride, control, and deception. And in that fortress, in the space where authentic connection should exist, there is only emptiness. Narcissists hate themselves at a level so profound they cannot even acknowledge it. They live in what spiritual teachers call separation consciousness, a state of being fundamentally cut off from the oneness, from divine truth, from love. This is the soil in which demonic influence thrives. Demonic spirits, dark energies, whatever terminology resonates with you, seek out this emptiness. They find a host in someone who has abandoned their authentic self and replaced it with illusion. The narcissist becomes a vessel for spiritual darkness, not because they are inherently evil, but because they have created the perfect environment for evil to operate. That's why it doesn't feel like drama. It feels like a war for your mind, your energy, and your sense of reality. Because it is. You're not just battling a person's ego. You're confronting the dark forces that have taken residence in the void they created. And these forces have specific strategies. According to spiritual warfare research, narcissists operate under the influence of several demonic spirits. The spirit of deception, which manifests through constant lying, gaslighting, and reality distortion. The spirit of control, often called the Jezebel spirit, which seeks to dominate and manipulate every aspect of your emotional reality. The spirit of pride, which drives the grandiosity, entitlement, and refusal to acknowledge wrongdoing. The spirit of fear, which despite their bravado, is the underlying terror that drives all their defensive behaviors, and the spirit of condemnation, which projects shame and blame onto you to avoid facing their own. These are not just metaphors. These are functional realities that explain why narcissistic abuse feels so profoundly destabilizing, why it drains your energy, why it leaves you feeling like you're losing your mind. Because the goal of these demonic forces is not just to harm the narcissist, it's to use the narcissist as a Trojan horse to get to you. Their aim is to jam your spiritual frequency, to keep you on an exhausting emotional roller coaster so you have no energy left for your divine purpose, to trap you in a toxic mental spiral where you question your reality, your worth, your sanity, and most insidiously, to deceive you into believing that as a good person, as a compassionate person, you're responsible for fixing this relationship. And this is the turning point. Their darkness is not your assignment, and their healing is not your job. You cannot love someone into the light if they refuse to face their own shadows. And the moment you recognize this, the moment you stop feeding the void with your energy, everything shifts. The awakening, when you begin to carry light. Now, here's what changes everything. When you start healing for real, your energy shifts, and they notice. Something profound happens when you begin your own spiritual awakening. When you start doing the inner work, healing your wounds, raising your consciousness, reconnecting with your authentic self and your divine purpose. You begin to carry light, and that light is the narcissist's greatest threat. Light exposes darkness. It's not aggressive or confrontational. It simply is, and in its presence, illusions cannot survive. The narcissist, who has built their entire identity on deception and false narratives, cannot maintain their facade when confronted with someone who operates from truth. This is why empaths, particularly those who have awakened to their spiritual power, become such targets for narcissistic attack. The empath's light, their clarity, their energy, their purpose, all of this shakes something demonic within the narcissist. They feel it. They sense that you carry something they desperately want, but can never access through their current state of being. But here's what's critical. They don't respond to your light by seeking to grow. They don't try to learn from it or be inspired by it. Instead, they try to extinguish it. Why? Because your light reminds them of everything they've lost. It mirrors back to them the void within. And rather than face that unbearable truth, their demonic spirit mobilizes to destroy the mirror. And the pattern is painfully consistent. First, they try to drain you. Then they try to distort you. And when that fails, they panic. When a narcissist encounters someone with strong spiritual energy, several things happen simultaneously. First, there's an initial attempt at energy vampirism. The narcissist will try to drain your vitality, feed off your light, extract your spiritual strength without reciprocating. This is why relationships with narcissists leave you feeling exhausted, depleted, spiritually empty. Second, when they recognize you're not an easy target for depletion, that your light keeps shining despite their attacks, they escalate to spiritual manipulation. They may use religious language to control you. They may position themselves as spiritually superior. Some narcissists even stand on pulpits, research spiritual powers, learn channeling techniques, not to serve the divine, but to gain the upper hand. They want to weaponize spirituality itself. But this never grants them what they truly need: fearlessness, divine guidance, inner peace. Because spirituality sought from separation consciousness, from a place of me versus you, from fear and lack, is not true spirituality. It's another mask, another manipulation. Third, when spiritual manipulation fails, when your light continues to shine and your boundaries remain firm, the narcissist's demonic spirit enters panic mode. This is when you'll see the most desperate, petty, and spiritually disgusting behaviors. sudden rage, character assassination, smear campaigns designed to dim your light in the eyes of others, gaslighting intensified to make you question your spiritual experiences, because once you're awake, you're no longer programmable, and that's what terrifies them most. All of this happens because on a deep spiritual level, the demonic forces operating through the narcissist recognize something terrifying. You are awakening. You are no longer asleep. You are no longer controllable through their usual tactics, and most frightening of all, your awakening might inspire others to wake up too. The fear response. What happens when darkness meets light? When control stops working, fear shows up fast, and you'll see it in the way they shift, scramble, and escalate. When the narcissist's demonic spirit recognizes it's facing someone it cannot control, the fear response is immediate and unmistakable. This fear operates on multiple levels simultaneously: psychological, energetic, and spiritual. On the psychological level, the narcissist suddenly realizes their manipulations are failing. The gaslighting doesn't work anymore because you trust your own perceptions. The guilt-tripping doesn't land because you've reclaimed your boundaries. The love-bombing and hoovering attempts don't pull you back because you've seen through the pattern. This creates profound disorientation for them. Their entire playbook, refined over years or decades, suddenly becomes useless. On the energetic level, they can no longer feed off you. You've closed the energetic leak. You're no longer a source of supply. Where they once could provoke emotional reactions, anger, fear, confusion, guilt, now they encounter calm discernment. Where they once could drain your vitality with manufactured drama, now they face someone who refuses to engage. This energetic shift is devastating to them because narcissists are externally regulated. Without your energy to feed on, their entire system destabilizes. On the spiritual level, this is where the demonic fear becomes most profound. Dark forces cannot coexist with light. When you carry genuine spiritual energy, rooted in truth, love, purpose, and divine connection, the darkness within the narcissist literally recoils. It's not a conscious process. The narcissists themselves may not even understand why they suddenly feel so threatened by you. But the demonic spirit operating through them recognizes an ancient enemy. Scripture speaks to this dynamic when it says, "What fellowship has light with darkness?" Even ancient teachings echo the same principle. Truth and illusion can't share the same room for long. The answer is none. Light and darkness cannot occupy the same space. One must yield to the other. And when you stand firmly in your light, when you refuse to be pulled into their darkness, the demonic forces have two choices: retreat or escalate. The narcissist may suddenly become hypervigilant around you, constantly monitoring your energy, your words, your actions. They sense you've become unpredictable, no longer following their script. This unpredictability terrifies them because it means they've lost control. They may engage in spiritual attack disguised as concern. They'll question your mental health. They'll suggest you're becoming too spiritual or losing touch with reality. They'll mock your growth, belittle your awakening, dismiss your spiritual experiences as delusion. All of this is projection. They're the ones disconnected from reality, living in illusion. But they cannot acknowledge this, so they project it onto you. You may also witness what some call seeing the demon's face. Survivors of narcissistic abuse report moments when the mask completely drops and they glimpse something genuinely dark behind the narcissist's eyes. A coldness, an emptiness, something that doesn't feel entirely human. You're not crazy for seeing this. You've caught a glimpse of the demonic energy that has taken residence in the void the narcissist created. This is also when the narcissist may attempt what spiritual warriors call division and isolation tactics. Demonic forces work to separate you from your support systems, from your spiritual community, from anyone who might affirm your reality. They spread lies designed to turn others against you. They create chaos in your relationships. They attempt to make you feel alone, crazy, unsupported. So don't mistake intensity for power. Most of the time, it's just fear with a louder voice. But here's what you must understand. All of this is evidence of their fear. When darkness encounters light that refuses to dim, it panics. The intensity of their attack is directly proportional to the threat you represent. And you represent the one thing they cannot survive: truth. The spiritual weapons you carry. So what is it about you, specifically, that disrupts them? It's not aggression, it's what you carry. Now let's examine the specific qualities that make the narcissist's demonic spirit fear you. These are not aggressive weapons. They're not born of vengeance or hatred. They are spiritual light, manifested through specific attributes that darkness cannot withstand. The first and most powerful weapon is clarity. When you see clearly, when you recognize the patterns, name the manipulation, understand the game, the narcissist loses their primary tool: confusion. Demonic forces thrive in fog, in ambiguity, in twisted narratives. But clarity is like a lighthouse cutting through the darkness. The narcissist can no longer gaslight you because you trust your own perception. They can no longer rewrite history because you remember the truth. This clarity terrifies them because it cannot be manipulated. The second weapon is boundaries rooted in self-love. When you finally understand that protecting your peace is not selfish, it's sacred, you become impenetrable. Narcissists and their demonic spirits cannot function without access. They need to be able to provoke you, invade your space, extract your energy. But boundaries cut off that supply. And when those boundaries are enforced, not with anger, but with calm conviction, it sends a clear message: your darkness has no place here. Research on spiritual dimensions of narcissistic abuse emphasizes that survivors who develop strong energetic boundaries become immune to further manipulation. Practices like grounding, shielding, and cultivating inner strength create a protective field that demonic energies cannot penetrate. This is not metaphorical, it's experiential reality for countless survivors. Because the moment your worth becomes internal, their leverage disappears and the dynamic collapses. The third weapon is emotional independence. When you no longer need the narcissist's approval, validation, or even acknowledgement to know your worth, you become free. The narcissist's power was always borrowed from your emotional dependency. They controlled you by making you believe your value was contingent on their perception of you. But when you reclaim your worth as inherent, as divinely given, as unchangeable regardless of their opinion, the entire structure collapses. This emotional independence is spiritual sovereignty. It means you are no longer reactive, no longer chasing closure, no longer trying to make them see, understand, or admit the truth. You've stopped giving them the power to define your reality. And that is terrifying to a narcissist's demonic spirit. And when you stop explaining yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you, you exit their arena. The fourth weapon is silence and detachment. Not the cold, punishing silence of withdrawal, but the sacred silence of someone who has transcended the need to engage. When you stop reacting, stop explaining, stop defending yourself against false accusations, you remove yourself from their battlefield. The demonic forces operating through the narcissist need your reaction, any reaction, to confirm their relevance. But silence rooted in spiritual peace communicates something they cannot process: indifference. This is not apathy, it's transcendence. You've risen above the drama into a higher frequency where their attacks simply don't reach you. And from that elevated position, you can see the entire dynamic clearly. The narcissist becomes small, pitiable, trapped in their own darkness. The demonic spirit that once seemed so powerful reveals itself as nothing more than smoke and mirrors. The fifth weapon is truth spoken without fear. When you can look at the narcissist and calmly say, "I see what you're doing," without needing them to admit it, you wield immense power. The narcissist's demonic spirit relies on your fear. Fear of their anger, fear of abandonment, fear of being labeled crazy. But when you speak truth regardless of consequences, you break that fear-based control. This doesn't mean aggressive confrontation. It means standing in your truth with such unwavering conviction that their lies cannot shake you. It means naming abuse as abuse, calling manipulation what it is, refusing to normalize toxic behavior just to keep the peace. This fearless truth-telling is light at its brightest, and darkness literally cannot withstand it. The sixth weapon is spiritual alignment. When you reconnect with your higher self, with Source, with divine purpose, you tap into an energy infinitely more powerful than any demonic force. Narcissists and their dark spirits operate from separation consciousness, from fear, lack, and ego. But when you operate from oneness consciousness, from love, abundance, and divine connection, you access a frequency they cannot touch. This is why spiritual practices become essential in healing from narcissistic abuse. Prayer, meditation, energy work, connection with nature, these aren't just coping mechanisms. They're realignment tools that restore your connection to the light. And when that connection is strong, the narcissist's darkness has no power over you. The narcissist's final desperate moves. When they feel control slipping, they don't suddenly become reasonable. They become strategic. As the narcissist's demonic spirit recognizes it's losing control, you'll witness a predictable escalation of tactics. Understanding these final desperate moves is crucial because they can be particularly intense and destabilizing if you're unprepared. The first desperate move is the smear campaign. When the narcissist can no longer control you directly, they attempt to control how others perceive you. They spread lies, twist your words, paint you as unstable, abusive, or mentally ill. This serves multiple purposes. It isolates you from support systems, it preemptively discredits your truth, and it allows the narcissist to play victim while casting you as villain. And remember, the story they're spreading isn't a reflection of you, it's a defense against exposure. But here's what you must understand. This is not about you. It's about their terror of exposure. They know you see the truth, and they're desperately trying to ensure no one else does. The intensity of the smear campaign is direct evidence of how threatened they feel by your awakening. The second desperate move is hoovering. This is when the narcissist attempts to suck you back into the dynamic through sudden displays of affection, vulnerability, or change. They may apologize profusely, though without genuine accountability. They may promise transformation. They may become the person you always wished they could be, temporarily. This is spiritual manipulation at its finest. If you've learned the cycle, you'll recognize hoovering instantly, not as love, but as re-entry. The demonic spirit operating through them knows that if they can get you to drop your guard, to hope again, to give one more chance, they can regain access to your energy. But survivors who have done the spiritual work recognize hoovering for what it is, a trap. The change is not real. It's a tactic, and the moment you re-engage, the cycle begins again. The third desperate move is projection intensified. When darkness is threatened, it accuses light of being darkness. The narcissist will call you the narcissist. They'll accuse you of manipulation, abuse, spiritual darkness, all the things they embody. This is psychological warfare designed to make you question everything. But projection only works if you internalize it. If you've done the inner work, if you know your truth, these accusations slide off you. You recognize them as the desperate flailing of someone who cannot face their own shadow. The fourth desperate move is manufactured crisis. The narcissist will create emergencies, dramas, situations that require your involvement. Health scares, financial disasters, threats of self-harm, situations involving children or mutual connections, all designed to pull you back into their orbit, to make you feel responsible, to break your boundaries. This is where discernment matters. Not every crisis is real, and not every plea is innocent. This is where spiritual discernment becomes essential. You must distinguish between genuine need and manipulative theater. Often, seeking guidance from trusted spiritual advisors or therapists who understand narcissistic abuse can help you see clearly. The fifth and perhaps most dangerous desperate move is dark spiritual attack. Some narcissists, particularly those who have engaged with spiritual practices for manipulative purposes, may attempt forms of psychic attack, curse work, or other dark spiritual tactics. While this may sound extreme, survivors of narcissistic abuse consistently report experiences of nightmares, sudden anxiety, intrusive thoughts, or energetic attacks that correlate with the narcissist's escalation. This is where your spiritual protection practices become crucial. Prayer, shielding visualizations, calling on divine protection, cleansing rituals, these are not superstition. They are spiritual hygiene in the face of genuine dark forces. Many spiritual traditions offer protection practices because this kind of attack is real. And here's the deeper truth. Real alignment makes you harder to shake because your center is no longer up for negotiation. But here's the ultimate truth. No demonic force can prevail against divine light. When you stand in your spiritual power, aligned with Source, protected by divine love, these attacks lose their potency. The darkness may rage, but it cannot penetrate authentic light. The final desperate move is often complete disappearance. When all else fails, when the narcissist's demonic spirit recognizes it cannot break you, cannot pull you back, cannot extinguish your light, they vanish. This isn't closure, it's abandonment. They move on to find new supply, easier targets, people still asleep. It may feel like an ending without closure, but it can also be the first quiet breath of freedom. And while this may initially feel painful, the lack of resolution, the absence of acknowledgement, it is actually liberation. Their absence is the gift you needed but didn't know to ask for. It's space for your continued healing. It's freedom from spiritual warfare. It's the universe removing a toxic force from your path so you can fully step into your purpose. Rising into your spiritual power. Because your healing is the mirror they can't stand. It proves what's possible when someone chooses truth. The most profound realization in this entire journey is this. The narcissist's demonic spirit fears you because you represent everything they lost. Authenticity, connection, truth, love, purpose, light. All the things they traded for illusion and control. When you heal from narcissistic abuse, you don't just recover, you ascend. This is why many spiritual teachings view encounters with narcissists as karmic lessons or soul contracts. The relationship, as painful as it was, serves as a catalyst for your spiritual awakening. It forces you to confront your own shadows, your codependency, your lack of boundaries, your tendency to seek external validation. And in confronting these shadows, you integrate them. You become whole. Not perfect, but complete. You reclaim the parts of yourself you gave away. You rebuild your sense of self on a foundation of truth rather than illusion. And in doing so, you become unshakable. This is the spiritual initiation, the dark night of the soul that precedes the dawn. And when you emerge on the other side, you carry a light that cannot be dimmed by any darkness. You've walked through hell and chosen to rise. You've faced demonic forces, and refuse to be consumed. You've been tested in ways most people never experience, and you've prevailed. This is why the narcissist's demonic spirit fears you. Not because you're vindictive or cruel, not because you seek revenge, but because you embody the very thing they rejected: spiritual truth. Your existence is a living reminder of the path they refuse to take. Your healing is evidence that transformation is possible if one has the courage to face themselves. Spiritual teachers across traditions speak to this dynamic. The battle between light and darkness is not just metaphor. It's the fundamental struggle of conscious evolution. Narcissism, from this perspective, represents consciousness that has stagnated, that has chosen separation over unity, fear over love. And you, the awakened empath, represent consciousness that is evolving. Your journey becomes more than personal healing. It becomes a template for others. When you share your story, when you speak your truth, when you demonstrate that it's possible to survive narcissistic abuse and emerge stronger, you give others permission to do the same. You become a beacon, a lighthouse guiding others out of the darkness. And this is what the demonic forces fear most. Not just your individual awakening, but the ripple effect of your transformation. One person choosing light inspires another and another. And soon, the darkness that once seemed so powerful is surrounded by light on all sides. The spiritual armor you must maintain. So if you've been in this long enough, you already know, staying free isn't one decision, it's a practice. Understanding that you're engaged in spiritual warfare requires maintaining spiritual armor. This is not paranoia, this is wisdom. When you've identified that you're dealing with narcissistic abuse rooted in demonic influence, you must actively protect your energy, your peace, and your spiritual well-being. The first piece of armor is daily spiritual practice. This creates a consistent connection to divine source that keeps your frequency high. Whether it's prayer, meditation, energy work, or time in nature, these practices are not optional, they're essential. They're how you cleanse yourself of any dark energy you may have encountered. They're how you recharge your light. They're how you stay aligned with truth. The second piece of armor is energetic boundaries. This goes beyond psychological boundaries. This is about learning to shield your energy field from intrusion. Visualization practices where you imagine yourself surrounded by white light, golden armor, or protective energy can be remarkably effective. Many spiritual traditions offer specific protection prayers or mantras. Use them, they work. The third piece of armor is community and support. Narcissists and their demonic spirits try to isolate you. The antidote is connection. Surround yourself with people who see your light, who affirm your reality, who support your healing. Join support groups for narcissistic abuse survivors. Work with therapists who understand spiritual dimensions of trauma. Connect with spiritual communities that recognize the reality of dark forces. Isolation is where the fog gets thicker. Connection is where clarity returns. Isolation is dangerous when you're recovering from narcissistic abuse. But in community, you find strength, validation, and collective spiritual power that no darkness can withstand. The fourth piece of armor is discernment. Not everyone who speaks spiritual language is operating from light. Remember, narcissists can weaponize spirituality. They can use religious language to manipulate. They can position themselves as enlightened while operating from pure ego. You must learn to discern the difference between authentic spiritual energy and spiritual bypassing or manipulation. True spiritual teachers empower you. False ones seek to control you. True spiritual community lifts you up. Toxic ones tear you down while calling it tough love. Trust your intuition. Your body knows the difference between light and darkness. If something feels off, it probably is. The fifth piece of armor is forgiveness. but not the way most people think. Spiritual forgiveness is not about excusing the narcissist's behavior or pretending the abuse didn't happen. It's not about reconciliation or understanding their trauma. Spiritual forgiveness is about releasing the energetic hooks that keep you bound to them. When you forgive from a spiritual perspective, you're not doing it for the narcissist, you're doing it for yourself. You're cutting the cords that allow their dark energy to continue affecting you. You're cleansing yourself of the resentment, anger, and pain that, while justified, ultimately weighs you down spiritually. You forgive to be free, not to let them off the hook, but to release yourself from the hook. The sixth piece of armor is continued growth and elevation. The goal is not just to survive narcissistic abuse, it's to thrive beyond it. Keep raising your consciousness. Keep doing the inner work. Keep developing your gifts and stepping into your purpose. Because the higher you rise, the less the narcissist's darkness can reach you. You transcend the entire dynamic. You move into frequencies where narcissistic abuse simply doesn't exist. This doesn't mean you forget or minimize what happened. It means you've integrated the lessons, healed the wounds, and evolved beyond the level of consciousness where that kind of relationship was even possible. The ultimate victory, living in your light. The win isn't payback, it's peace. It's building a life so full that they no longer fit anywhere in it. The ultimate victory over the narcissist's demonic spirit is not revenge. It's not exposure. It's not even their eventual karmic consequences. The ultimate victory is you living fully in your light. When you heal so completely that the narcissist becomes irrelevant. When you build a life so abundant with love, purpose, and joy that you rarely think about them. When you use your experience to help others without remaining trapped in victim identity. That is victory. The narcissist may never acknowledge the harm they caused. They may never apologize, never take accountability, never face their demons. But that's not your burden to carry. Your responsibility is to yourself, to heal, to grow, to shine. And when you do, when you step fully into your spiritual power and purpose, you become living proof that light always triumphs over darkness. Not through violence or aggression, but through persistent, unwavering radiance. Darkness cannot extinguish light. It can only retreat from it. This is what the narcissist's demonic spirit fears. Your healing, your happiness, your freedom, your light. Because every moment you spend thriving is evidence of their failure. Every boundary you maintain is a wall they cannot breach. Every step you take toward your purpose is a step away from their influence. The spiritual dimensions of narcissistic abuse reveal that these relationships are not random. You were placed in the narcissist's path for a reason. Perhaps to learn boundaries, perhaps to heal childhood wounds, perhaps to develop spiritual discernment, perhaps to become strong enough to help others on the same journey. Whatever the reason, you can choose to see it as a spiritual initiation rather than a curse. You can choose to extract the lessons rather than remain in bitterness. You can choose to rise rather than remain broken. And when you make that choice, when you commit to your healing and your growth with the same intensity the narcissist committed to your destruction, you step into a power they can never touch. You become who you were always meant to be, not despite the narcissistic abuse, but having transmuted it into fuel for your transformation. This is alchemy. This is spiritual mastery. This is taking the darkest experience of your life and using it to create the brightest future. And this is what makes the narcissist's demonic spirit tremble. Because you didn't just survive, you ascended. So as you move forward, hold on to this. The more you stabilize in truth, the less access they have. So here's what you must remember as you navigate this spiritual battlefield. The narcissist's demonic spirit fears you not because you're aggressive, not because you're vengeful, not because you fight fire with fire. It fears you because you carry something it lost long ago and can never reclaim through manipulation or control. Authentic spiritual light. That light is your truth, your boundaries, your clarity, your emotional sovereignty, your connection to divine source, your refusal to participate in illusion, your unwavering commitment to growth and healing. All of this combined creates a frequency that darkness simply cannot withstand. When you understand this, truly understand it, you stop fearing the narcissist. You stop giving them power through your attention. You stop trying to make them see, understand, or acknowledge anything, because you recognize that the battle was never really about them. It was about you choosing light over darkness, truth over illusion, love over fear. And once you've made that choice, once you've committed to living in your spiritual truth regardless of their tactics, you become untouchable. The narcissist may rage, the demonic forces may escalate, but none of it can dim your light unless you allow it to. So stand in your power, maintain your boundaries, trust your intuition, stay connected to Source, and watch as the darkness that once seemed so overwhelming retreats in the presence of your unwavering light. The narcissist's demonic spirit fears you because you represent everything they could have been if they'd chosen differently. You are the path not taken, the healing they refused, the truth they couldn't face, the light they extinguished within themselves. And your very existence, healed, whole, thriving, is a living reminder of their failure. Not your failure, theirs. If this message resonates, keep choosing the light, quietly, consistently. And if you know someone who needs these words today, share this with them. You don't have to argue with darkness. Just stay anchored in truth. Drop a comment with one boundary you're committing to this week, and let's hold that line together. Stand in your power, one boundary at a time. And if you want more teachings like this, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. Your real victory is your peace. If you're rebuilding after narcissistic abuse, hit like so this reaches more survivors who need clarity right now. So shine on, warrior of light. Shine until the darkness has no choice but to retreat. Shine until others find their way out of the shadows. Shine because it's your divine right and sacred purpose. And remember, stay anchored. Keep your boundaries. Keep choosing the light, because darkness doesn't argue with light. It backs away.